All right, let's do this. The first podcast in 2019. How are you guys? As you probably noticed, I didn't fully manage to keep the podcast coming every week as I promised during the Christmas period, which had a bunch of different reasons that I'm going to get into a little bit later. But Happy New Year! I hope you all had a very good New Year's Eve, had a great Christmas break with your friends and family. I certainly did, and I'm going to tell you about it in this podcast. Other than that, I also want to talk a little bit about New Year's resolutions, things that I have coming up in the future on this YouTube channel, but also for my company, privately, what I try to work on, what I try to get better at, things that are on my mind. All these things and more we're going to cover in this first podcast in the new year. So, first of all, I gotta apologize a little bit for not being consistent enough with the podcast. I thought I could manage to really keep it coming every week, no matter what. But then there was this first Sunday where me and my girlfriend were flying back home to Germany, where I'm from, and it basically took up the entire day. I thought I could record maybe a video at the airport if we're waiting there for a longer period, or even a day before, but that didn't work out because we had to buy Christmas presents. So long story short, I kind of missed that Sunday, and then the next day was Christmas Eve, 24th. So the entire family came over. There was a bunch of things happening, of course, like a lot of eating, a lot of presents, me dressing up as Santa. There was taking walks and cakes and all these different things that happen during Christmas. So I did not manage to record for that week. And then basically every single day after that, I was meeting a bunch of old high school friends, a lot of different family members that live in the area nearby, just because I'm so seldomly home that I really try to make the most out of the time that I have with those people and being back home. So it was super fun. Really love my Christmas break that I had now. Even though it wasn't super long, I really managed to see everyone that is important to me. I managed to spend time with the people that mean the most to me. Nowadays I have friends that I really only see during those days of Christmas. I don't usually see them throughout the year that often. So it makes it all the more worth it to go home and all the more important to actually take the time to have a coffee with these people, have a chat, and hear what's happening in their lives. Of course, I also had a lot to share with them, and especially with the family members I have. They're usually pretty curious what is happening to me, what I'm doing here in Scandinavia, what I'm doing with my company, what is going on. They met my girlfriend, some of them for the first time, so everybody was a bit curious about that. So, it was a lot of social interactions, a lot of things every single day, like coffee dates and then going to lunch with people and then meeting them for dinner. I mean, it was 2 or 3 people every single day that I met. But now I'm fully recharged. I'm ready to go. I'm excited to tackle the new year. I'm excited to see what it has in store for me. And also, I took some time in between those different social meetings to get a little bit of clarity of what I actually want to do with this YouTube channel, what I want to do with my career in the near future, and also a bit further down the road, where I plan to go with my life, essentially, at least for the next 5 years. I think it doesn't make too much sense to plan too far ahead, just because we live in such a dynamic world these days, and there's so many things changing all the time. From living situations to your career, to your social life, to your partner's family life. All these different things are always moving blocks, and I think it just doesn't make sense to think like, okay, where do I want to be in 20 years? But it can help to have a vision for not only the next 6 months, but actually think like the next 5 years and which steps I need to take now to get to where I want to go in that period of time, right? So actually yesterday I met a couple of friends here in Stockholm, flew back on the 1st and have been working the past couple of days. But yesterday I met out some friends for coffee and we talked about New Year's resolutions and we talked about how we tackle that. And it was really interesting to see how people have different methods to go about it. For example, I have this one friend, he's rather strategic. He works with logistics, so he works a lot with like some kind of project management. And he really applies that to how he tries to execute things in his own life and in his private matters. So he said he has like this whole setup with a board, and then he moves like different components from like plan to being handled to finally being completed, and then like all these different projects that he has for the year has like different subcategories and sub things that he wants to do. So I found that really interesting. And then there was another girl who has more a chill way to go about it, and she's like, one example was she was like, okay, I want to spend more time in nature. And then she tried to find things that actually force her to follow up with that. So for example, she would go and wish for a sleeping bag, like an outdoor sleeping bag for Christmas. And that way she thought that she will be more inclined to actually go outside and actually follow through with her plans to spend more time outdoors. So I thought that was really cool, how different people have different approaches to it. And also just in general, what they try to do in the new year. It's quite interesting that I think most people actually don't have these like cliche New Year's resolutions, like I want to exercise more or I want to smoke less. But for example, they want to spend more time outdoors. Or this guy that I mentioned, the more systematic guy, he wants to spend more time with his family. So he made a plan for that and how he can incorporate that into his life and into his routines to actually rebuild a connection with his parents and with his siblings. So I think most people actually care more about these things that will really improve their overall life satisfaction and happiness. And I'm no exception to that. I was thinking about what can I do personally to increase my happiness? What can I do that will bring me pleasure? What will bring me satisfaction? And also, of course, that is not a very easy question to ask. It's not just, okay, I want to, I don't know, spend more time with my friends, or I want to travel more or something like that. But you actually have to be more strategic about it, in the sense that it's important to actually think about, okay, which resources do I first need to gather to be able to live the kind of life that would increase my happiness. So, for example, if I want to have more vacation, maybe I need to earn more money. Maybe I actually need more vacation time. So maybe instead of saying, okay, my New Year's resolution is that I go on like a very long vacation somewhere, is actually to change jobs and be like, okay, I need to find a job where I get paid more and where I get more vacation time. If in the end I want to travel more, and I think that will increase my life happiness. So I think it's very important to be strategic about it and actually tackle the root causes of some dissatisfaction that you might feel and experience in your life throughout the year. So, very long introduction to what my personal goals are and my personal vision for this year. Well, if you have been watching this podcast regularly, you know that I just started a new job like 3 weeks ago, actually, at the old company where I worked previously. So my own business is a little bit on ice right now. I'm much more focused, to be honest, on just handling the workload that I have in this new position, just getting a feel for what the job is actually about, getting to know the colleagues, getting all these educations that I need to do the job well, and really just get into some sort of routine there. Because right now I still feel like I go to work and I don't really know what I'm actually doing there. I feel like I don't even deserve to get paid for what I'm doing there, just because it's still pretty simple, and it's just slowly building the foundation to actually being able to handle more complex tasks in the future, and actually, doing something for my money that I get and actually providing some value to the company. So I'm in this weird twilight zone where you feel like, okay, I sort of have a grasp of what the job is about, but I still don't feel like I can contribute fully and be a fully valuable member to the team that I'm part of. So I'm planning to do that, like actually get a routine going at work for probably it will take up to 6 months, because it is supposed to be rather complex what I will be doing in the future in this position. But once I have that under control, I plan to just use the time that I have outside of the job, which is pretty much 9 till 5, so I still get a good chunk of time after working hours. I really plan to put that into some sort of own career. And I still haven't fully decided what that might look like in detail. I'm sure that I will keep continuing with these YouTube videos just because it's so much fun for me, and just because I like you guys so much, because I actually enjoy the interaction, and I also enjoy what it does to me personally. I love reflecting the way that I do through these videos. I love putting my thoughts into actual concepts and actually verbalizing them the way that I do in these videos. So I will definitely keep continuing doing that, and I will try to incorporate that into some sort of career that I can work on myself. Because, some people might be watching this now and be thinking, well, Moritz, you have a decently paid job now, 9 till 5, why don't you just settle for that? Why don't you just try to make a career out of that, go for the straight path, just climbing the corporate ladder, embracing that kind of lifestyle, just like all of your colleagues do there as well. And what's wrong with that, right? Like, why can't you just be happy with that? And I'm thinking about that, why I can't be happy with that. And I still don't have a complete answer, because I do see all the benefits. I do see, like, I get my company phone, and I do see, sorry, I just need to check that I actually turned this on. Yes, I did. Great, microphone is working. Moment of being scared there that I didn't record any of this. I do see all the benefits. Like, you get your pension paid by the company, and you get healthcare benefits, and you get all these nice colleagues around you, you get free breakfast, you get your after work, like all these different things, all these benefits on top of just the salary that you get, and which is considerably more than what you make when you start your own company at the beginning. I do see all of these benefits, and still I do have this feeling that you're becoming a cog in a machine if you're working in a company and your only life goal basically is to become a bigger cog. Okay, that sounds wrong. Bigger cog. I mean COG, not COCK. But you try to just increase your influence. You try to become more important. You get more responsibility in your job, and all of that is fine and well. but it still feels like there's always going to be somebody telling you what to do, and you're always just part of a machinery. You're always just supposed to function. You're always just supposed to do what you're told and do it well, and if you do it well enough, you get even more responsibilities. But personally, just for myself, I know that there's plenty of people who disagree with what I'm saying here, and maybe, I mean, definitely that's good, because we need people in companies. Not everybody can do their own thing. People need to work in companies and be content with it. That's how our society works, right? But for me personally, I need to see more growth in myself than I see when I just do what I'm told in a company. Like, I want to be able to turn 80 one day, 50 years from now, look back at my life and be like, okay, this is what I have accomplished. And for me personally, I don't think I would get that feeling of having accomplished something meaningful and having accomplished something that is up to my own standards, if I just in quotation marks, but if I work in a company and have just been doing what I'm told all my life, and have been working in a company where I maybe don't fully identify with the product even though the company is super fun and the people there are super fun and the working hours are great and all these things. I feel like I want to be part of something truly meaningful, and I want to feel like I put all my energy, my workforce into something that changed the world for the better. For the lack of a better term, this is how I would put it. I want to be part of something that is meaningful and that makes the world a better place. And I know how cliche that sounds. I know everybody in Silicon Valley is saying that, including Mark Zuckerberg and all these people, where it's very debatable if they're actually making the world a better place or if they're just making themselves richer and richer. But I still feel like that's something worth striving towards, making the world a better place. And I just don't see that in the position where I'm currently in, even though it's challenging and it's fun and it's entertaining, and I learn a lot through it. I don't see this like long-term perspective with it. So yeah, long story short, this is something I want to figure out this year, and I want to gain more clarity about what it is exactly that I want to leave as a legacy, if you want to be so dramatic, and what I actually want to, what this contribution will be to a better world. So this is what I'm pondering over for the next couple of months, I guess. But YouTube will be a big part of it, and this podcast will be an important tool for it. So I'm sure you're going to hear more about this kind of rambling and these kind of thoughts that are going around in my head. So you're going to be part of this process and this journey of figuring out how exactly my contribution is going to look like. For that, the podcast and the videos, you can see that I changed a little bit about the setup here. What you can see here, this nice little board, was a Christmas present actually from my girlfriend. And she already saw it with another YouTuber who had this kind of thing in the background, and she thought it looked really cool. And she thought I would like it, and I do indeed. So I'm very happy to have that in my future videos. Also, you can see I worked a little bit on the setup, so it's not just me talking in front of a white wall. I want to make it a little bit more appealing to the eye. So I've put some thought into how to actually present these kind of videos. I also have 2 videos that I already filmed that I'm editing right now that are coming up during this week. It is a little bit difficult to film during the week when I'm working full-time at the same time, but I think I can manage to film during the weekend and then just edit it during the week in the evenings. So this is the process that I will be following until I find something better, or until the days get long enough that I can film after working hours. But I'm super excited about the videos that I'm gonna put out later this week. One is about, actually it is about New Year's resolutions and things that I would recommend people try this new year if they want to work on themselves and if they're interested in personal development. It's going to be 3 books, 3 routines, and 3 mindsets that will help you improve as much as you want in 2019 and really make this your year. So this is one video that's going to be coming out very soon, and then I have another video which is more related to happiness, which is a topic that I've been thinking a lot about recently. Also because I'm reading a book about it right now. Unfortunately, I don't have it here right now. But it's lying right over there on the shelf. It's by a researcher from, I want to say Harvard. I think he's a Harvard professor. Might be some other Ivy League college, but very interesting guy. His name is Daniel Gilbert, and the book is called Stumbling on Happiness. So he approaches happiness from a psychology perspective, and I've been through it only halfway, but I can already say that it's one of the best nonfiction books that I've ever read. I really, really recommend it highly to anyone who's interested in psychology, in happiness, and personal development, and just in general, why we do things the way we do them, and why we sometimes make decisions that are not the best for our happiness. Really, really interesting guy. He also has a TED Talk that you can check out. Of course, it's on YouTube. It's a couple of years old already, I think, but it has millions of views, and rightfully so, because that guy is truly amazing. And I could already tell a little bit from the TED Talk, but now that I'm reading his book, I'm like kind of blown away how deep he goes into the matter, and that he's not just scratching the surface like some other personal development books sometimes do. So that's what I've been reading lately. I have other books on my bookshelf that I'm looking forward to read soon. Actually, my girlfriend, she's doing this challenge right now that she tries to read 1 book a month, and I had the pleasure to pick some of the books that she plans to read in this year. So that was really cool, and it's cool for different reasons. One is that I just like to read and I like to talk about books, and I think it's exciting to tell her which books would be interesting and that will help her, with whatever questions she's pondering over. But also just exciting to have somebody to talk about these books with and be like, okay, have you gotten to that part yet? And what do you think about this idea? I think that's a really cool thing to do together. For me, other than the New Year's resolutions that I already mentioned, I plan to do something that YouTube is going to be a part of, so you're also going to see more about that. And I don't want to give too much away, but I can already say that I have the plan to make 1 video at the end of every month this year where I sort of present a longer project. So the idea is that I want to do something for 1 month every day. Different habits, different routines that I try to incorporate into my life, and I want to allow you to follow along, and want to film a little bit every couple of days and talk about my experiences with it, and want to share with you how these kind of routines improve my life, hopefully for the better, or maybe how I find out that they're really not for me and that they kind of suck, at least from my perspective. So what I'm doing in January right now is that I try to meditate every day for 1 hour. And I don't do it straight, so I'm not that far into the whole meditation thing yet. I don't think I could actually handle that for 1 hour without talking or without some kind of stimulation. But I try to do it 3 times a day. I do 1 session in the morning. I do 1 during lunch break at work, and then I come home and I do 1 more, sometimes together with my girlfriend. We're using this really cool app for it. I just bought it. It's called Headspace. It does have a free version as well, So you can already try out like 10 free sessions if you are interested at all. And then afterwards you have to pay for it. And it's rather expensive, I would say. It doesn't offer more than guided meditation. So it's basically just telling you like how to get deeper into a state of meditation, how you can avoid common pitfalls, what kind of thinking you can apply to be more at ease during meditation. So it is super helpful, but I don't think, like if you get the normal subscription, it's not completely worth it maybe, or it's a bit overpriced. But what I did is that I bought it together with Spotify. If you get Spotify Premium and then you get this app called Headspace on top of it, then you don't pay more for the first 3 months. You only pay like 10 euros, which is normal for Spotify Premium anyway. And then afterwards it costs 150 crowns, so that's like 15 euros. So I don't know, like maybe in dollars it's $15 as well. I don't know how they convert it. But that's something I really recommend checking out, because then it's really affordable and it already makes a huge difference in my life and how I perceive certain things in my daily life. So I'm going to talk more about that, obviously, in the video that I try to make about it. And of course, I'm also going to probably make more experiences in the upcoming weeks with this pretty strict meditation routine. It is quite difficult to get up to an hour every day, but I can see the positive effects already just after, what is it today, 6th of December, so it's been less than a week. And I can already see positive benefits to it. So I'm going to keep it up. And by the end of the month, I'm going to give you my feedback. So, yeah, one more thing about the podcast. I think I've been experimenting a little bit with the length of the podcast. Usually I have tried to get up to 1 hour. And I noticed that sometimes in previous podcast sessions that dragged it out a little bit unnecessarily. So I think I'm gonna work on finding the right time for myself personally. Like 1 hour sounds good, you have a 1 hour podcast. But if it's really just me talking into the camera, I think 1 hour is really a long time to stomach, kind of. Also for you as an audience. Not just for me to really push through and just talk for 1 hour straight. It's not the easiest thing. So I'm going to experiment a little bit with that. And I think today I'm actually going to cut it a little bit short because, first of all, it's getting dark, even though you might not see it that well, because I have this nice lighting setup now that I'm experimenting with. So I can also record a little bit when it's just beginning to get dark. But also we didn't have lunch yet, and there's a couple of other things I need to take care of today. But yeah, super excited to be back on it. Super excited to make this a regular thing again. Super excited to put out the 2 videos during the week, and then we're also going to hear each other again next Sunday for the next podcast. I think one more New Year's resolution could actually be that I try to record at least one podcast every single week, make it every Sunday and just put it out there. I think it is interesting for you guys, but also interesting for myself, how I develop throughout the year and how I progress, hopefully. But also how this whole setup and the YouTube and the podcast thing progresses. I remember last year I made a video, you can go back actually, 1 year in the YouTube, in my YouTube history, in my YouTube library of videos. 1 year ago, I set the goal for myself to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2018. And look at me now, having 1,570 something subscribers. So I already fulfilled that benchmark around August to get to 1,000 in 2018. And obviously that was a huge milestone for me. I was kind of amazed how quickly it then went, because last year, I mentioned before in other videos, I only had like I had less than 100 subscribers. I had like 75 or something around New Year's in 2018. So I really made huge improvements there. It was a huge year for me, but I know that there is more potential. And 2019 really should be the year where I take more advantage of that potential that I think I still have and that this format still has. So, okay, let me go on record here and put out some goals just before I finish this up. Let me put out some goals for 2019 in terms of YouTube specifically. And of course, we're a little bit biased as human beings to go for like these nice round numbers, like 1,000 subscribers. And I'm no different there. So I think I'm gonna be bold, set high goals, high expectations for myself, and say 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2019. This is gonna be my goal. I'm gonna be working towards that. Along with that, of course, would come actual monetization of my content, which is something I have not yet accomplished, but that I'm getting closer and closer to. So I need more watch hours for that. I'm gonna try to work on that. And then I really just want to get the setup to a way that is really appealing to the audience. I want you guys to have the greatest experience possible when you watch a video of mine. I want you to actually be looking forward to new videos coming up every time I upload them. So I will keep working on how I edit them, how I make them more entertaining, how I get the flow to be more smooth. So all of these are continuous improvements that I still have to get better at, and I will get better at. So I'm really excited to take you along for this journey. I'm really excited for what 2019 has in store, both for YouTube, for me professionally, and also privately, because there's also changes happening there all the time, of course. So 2019 is gonna be a big one no matter what, and I'm gonna do my very best to get the most out of it. But for now, let me wrap this up here. Very happy to have this recorded, put it out there, and I wish you once again a very successful, very happy, and most of all healthy 2019. See you guys latest next week, and also look out for the videos that are coming up during the week. Thanks for watching, and talk to you next time.